Studio 5. Okay, think of someone you love.
Okay,
Probably not hard to do. Now think of a trait or a flaw or a weakness of somebody you love that maybe bugs you. Probably also not hard to do.
Yeah, not too hard on either one of those. How can you be honest, though, and address the issues without offending that person? Studio 5 relationship coach Matt Townsend here with a lesson in compassionate truthfulness. We love these people.
Yes.
We want to tell them something
They're
to help
great.
them.
And they drive us crazy. Or there's something about them that we just don't like. Or not like, but there's something about them that just is wrong, and it needs to be fixed.
And we want to fix it and help them.
Yes. So this comes from a Psychology Today article, okay? By a guy named, I got to get it right, Dr. Karasu. Okay.
That sounds right.
Byram Karasu. Now, here's his deal. He says, he uses a metaphor called the errant thread. So have you ever seen somebody with a sweater on? I was hoping you'd wear a sweater today.
Oh, you should have told me. I could have put one on.
I know. And the thread's hanging out of the sweater. It's just dangling. It's just, we call them hangy-anis in my family. And it's just like that, and you see it, so it's just there. Now, do you say something?
No.
Or do you just start playing with it? Like, I would just grab it and start playing on it and pulling on it.
I've been wanting to vent about this pet peeve for a while.
Let's hear it.
Oh,
It's
no.
like
Does
when,
it involve us?
Well,
It could, yeah, obviously, yeah.
No, it's the female spin on the errant thread.
Right, okay.
It's when you have a hair on your
the hair.
clothing.
I hate
If
that.
I don't know you, do not pick that hair off of
pick
my
that hair.
sweater. Please.
That's right.
If I know you and you're trying to help me, and that's a
You
personal
know what?
space.
I've got one. Don't rub my belly unless I'm pregnant. That seems obvious, but people rub my belly all the time. The belly rubbers. So the idea is there's an errant thread.
Or a hair.
Or a
on your
hair.
sweater
Or
wall.
in reality, the example he's using is some of us just have flaws. And they're pretty obvious to everyone, and we haven't dealt with them yet. So how do you suggest, in a compassionate way, in a truthful way, how do you balance compassion and truth and ask them to maybe address the threat?
Let me ask, do you have to?
No.
I mean, if they've got some thread hanging out,
That's right.
do you have to say you got a thread hanging out? If
He
they've got a
makes,
flaw,
he makes
do
a
I have
great
to?
point that the sweater's beautiful all over as well. I mean, there's beautiful colors, there's beautiful textures. It's got a lot going for it. Just because there's a bad thread doesn't mean we have to address the bad thread. And maybe you don't need to obsess on it. So the first idea is just don't necessarily think you have to fix it. There's some things, especially in other people, we don't need to do it. We don't need to fix it. We can focus on the whole sweater. We can focus on the whole goodness of the person we're dealing with, not just the errant thread. The second tool, though, is kind of a big deal. What do you think it would be? What do you think? Once we kind of know, I guess we have to decide if we're going to talk to them. Then what? Who's supposed to fix this thread?
They're supposed to fix it, but we want to fix it for them. Or
well, that's interesting. You're saying don't grab a hair off my body. Well, that sounds weird. Don't grab a hair, an errant hair that's. Okay, anyway, I'm just going to keep going because
stick with the thread.
I'm going to stick with the thread. But the idea is she's got my hair.
Okay.
It's their sweater, so let them lead the way. See, the deal is it's their pain, it's their problem. Let them lead this.
Okay.
You don't lead someone else's problem. When they're in pain and hurting, you don't just start probing and try to get in there and fix it, okay? You let them. So I'm going to show you some ways that you could kind of get the conversation started, okay? So if you have to have the conversation, here's how I suggest you do it. Are you ready?
We're ready.
First thing I would do is I'd share some data, and then I'd ask an inviting question, like back to the hair on the shirt.
Data, like I've noticed you shed 100,000 strands of hair a year.
All over the floor around you. I would just share the data. What's going on? Let's say you have a neighbor that's a little depressed. You haven't seen her for a few days. She hasn't come to meetings at your church. She hasn't been to the party, whatever. You would just say, Stacy, I'm noticing you haven't been coming around as much. I'm noticing you're not going to the meetings, and I'm just wondering what's going on.
State the facts.
State the facts, invite more information. Another thing you could do is state the emotion you see. If you see someone is down, if you see someone is sad, state the emotion and invite more understanding. Stacy, you seem a little down. You've seemed bummed lately. What's up? Now, don't say you seem bummed. Are you depressed again? Are you not taking your medication? You need to take your medication because remember, your mom called me last time and said you need. No, that's just you pulling on the thread. Just notice, I notice you've seen a little down lately, and you invite more understanding. Okay? Third tool, you can do either one of the first, either the data or the emotion, and tell them that you're concerned and how much you love them and you care about them, and then invite more understanding. I've noticed that you haven't been coming around as much. It concerns me because I care so much about you, and I just want to know if there's anything I can do to help or what's going on.
Yeah.
The goal is to get them talking. And when you get them talking, then you're going to start let them let out whatever they want to let out. When they let it out, don't judge it, don't beat it up, don't be offended by what they say. And don't, if they decide not to give you any more data, just love them anyway.
Let it go.
And just let the thread blow in the wind, like that hair on your shoulder.
You know, when you ask for the question, you made the statement and you ask for the question. Are there better ways to do that than others?
Yeah. I actually don't usually try to ask a big question. So I usually just say, tell me more. Like more of an invitation than a question. So instead of saying, what's wrong? One reason, because the minute you ask a question, you have to inflect. This is more than you'll ever want to know. But the minute you inflect, you might sound judgmental. You haven't been to church. What's wrong? What's going on with you? So I would say, you haven't been going to church. I've noticed this. I've noticed this. Tell me, what's up? So notice your tone is to keep it neutral or to keep the tail end of it down instead of...
Now we know when Townsend asks us, tell me more.
Yeah.
We know he's really just playing a little relationship coach treat. Okay, you also say there's one word that you maybe should avoid saying.
Yes, avoid buts.
Okay.
I beg your pardon?
Pardon? Avoid buts, not nuts. Avoid buts, because buts make it an either or. So either you're good, so I love you to death, your sweater's beautiful, but you've got a hangy-on-y errant thread. I love your sweater, it's beautiful, and you know what? You've got a thread poking out. I'm afraid it'll hook on something.
So what do we say instead?
I'd use and. We use the word and. I love you to death, you're incredible, and you've got an errant thread. That sweater's beautiful, and you got a thread that might catch on something.
Okay.
And makes it so the two ideas can coexist. It's a powerful word. I can love my children and want to pop them. And I won't, because I love them.
And if you don't know me, just leave the hair on my shirt,
right.
okay? You have a free opportunity for couples to get some help.
So if any of you are out there with any relationship questions, issues, pain, problems, my company, Townsend Relationship Center, we're doing a free session. Anybody that wants it, you sit down with one of our experts, one of our coaches, and we go through, it's about a 40-minute session with you, and we'll work on whatever your issue is.
Wow.
Free of charge. All you got to do is call us at 747-2121 or go to matttownsend.com. Set those up. We're doing it for Christmas. And we're doing it, it's a gift for the holidays.
From Maddie to all of you.
Because a lot of us have stuff we have to deal with before the holidays.
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, kids.
And we'll be back with more.